Today on the show, it's our fantasy triple play. For all of you Game of Thrones fans out there who are going through withdrawals, I have a recommendation of a fantasy book series, comic, and a movie. Let me give you a rundown of today's topics. For my movie recommendation, I'm going to be giving my review of How to Train Your Dragon 2. For my comic recommendation, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite epic fantasy comics, Artesia. And for my book review, we're going to be talking about The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, part of the First Law series, sponsored by Audible.com. So let's get started with that one. So I'm really excited to start listening to The Blade Itself. And it's an epic fantasy series, so for all you Game of Thrones people out there, you book readers who maybe have read all the books and they want to try a new fantasy series, or maybe if you've never read any of the Game of Thrones books because...
I've never read any of them. None of them.
Yeah, I know that. You don't read books. And that's okay if you want to try to get started, because I know that the Game of Thrones books are like super dense. They're like super dense, okay? This might be a better starter because the Game of Thrones books are a little intimidating. Plus the book series isn't finished yet. This one, you got 1, 2, 3, bam, already done, ready to go. You're not gonna be left hanging. You don't have to worry about the author dying before it's finished. There's a lot of pluses to this series I'm really excited about. But just like Game of Thrones, it also has morally ambiguous characters, and you have this medieval setting where you have like this warring culture, and there's magic, and there's a lot of stuff going on. It's very character driven. It's a very character driven deal. So I'm really excited about starting to listen to it.
All right, maybe.
Well, if you maybe kind of sort of want to try it, you want to listen to it, and you're a new member to Audible, you can go to audible.com/comicbookgirl and download it for free. It's like no risk. And once you become a member, if you don't like it, you can exchange it, no questions asked. You also earn 1 free book credit a month for your subscription, so you can end up getting more free books later. So, I don't know what your problem is, robot. So next up, for my main topic today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite comics, Artesia. I hand-picked this one for Game of Thrones fans. If you are a fan of that series, you should totally like Artesia. Like, it's got a lot of the same stuff going on. It's totally rad. Just trust me. You might be wondering, why aren't you talking about Game of Thrones comics? Well, that's because...
Why aren't you talking about Game of Thrones comics?
The thing is, George R.R. Martin is just... packs those books with crazy descriptions, okay? He's describing everything, and he's just so vivid in that these comics just they don't hold up to that. Like, the book descriptions are just far more intense than even the comic book illustrations. But if you want to read those comics, you can totally read those comics. It's totally fine. I'm sure you'll have a great time. But I feel like Artesia is really worth your time. Like, super worth your time.
Okay, why? What happens? What's it about?
Well, just like Game of Thrones, this comic book is just filled with this complex world history and mythology. It's got betrayal and war and feudal politics and intrigue and sex and magic and all this sort of crazy stuff, just like Game of Thrones.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got it all. It's for mature readers. It's not for kiddies out there.
Oh, I'm mature.
It's got some mature scenes.
Like what? What happens?
Well, there's a little bit of, sacred ritual orgies going on a little bit. I don't know. I mean, the main character, she...
Wait, what's that mean? What's that?
Well...
What's an orgy?
Maybe when you're older, robot. I don't have time to talk about that with you right now.
What's an orgy?
Don't...
Orgy!
Shh. Don't go around saying that, okay? You can't yell that out.
Does it have boobies?
It does have boobies. It has lots of boobies, butts. There's some male frontal nudity as well.
No, I don't want any of that now.
Oh, gosh, can't see that. You can't have one without the other. I mean, it takes two, And this comic is centered around a woman named Artesia. This is her right here. She's kind of like a pagan Joan of Arc. Like, she's a a concubine to a Highland king who ends up becoming the captain of his army, but she's also a magician and a priestess. She has an enchanted sword. She binds ghosts. She has prophetic like visions and sees like controls these like feminine war spirits and is just generally a badass all around. Like for example, in this one scene, she's betrayed when these like 2 assassins are like put into her company and they're there, you know, obviously to kill her, but she knows that because she ain't stupid. So what she does is that she beds them, but then while like she's doing that, she's also like bewitching them and all this stuff and finds out their purpose, and then they're like magically asleep and they won't wake up. So in the morning, she has her like feminine war spirits like put on all of her armor, and then she wakes them up, and then she just like impales these 2 naked dudes and is just like, yeah, right, you're not gonna assassinate me. It's like, oh man, she's just such a treat. And because Artesia is the leader of this army, it shows all this really cool like feudal military strategy and all these different like political intrigue things going on, these power struggles between these different like warring kingdoms, things like that. And as I said, there's like magic and these gods and goddesses, and then you know, you have like this patriarchal sun court, and then they have, you know, the Highland people had like worship the goddess, you know. Like I said, it's a very, very rich and complex world, just like Game of Thrones. But there's like a lot of stuff. You're just dumped in the middle of this world and you're just like, wow, there's just so much going on around me. And it can be a little overwhelming at times, again, just like Game of Thrones, but it's totally worth it. If you're looking for a really complex story, this is it. Like if you want a complex fictional universe to dip your little toesies in until Game of Thrones comes back next season, I highly recommend it. And just like most epic fantasy series, you get these nice glossaries in the back where they talk about all the different gods and goddesses. You have all these different like myths going on, so you can have a better understanding of what the characters are talking about. You have a bunch of like history lessons in the back. You have a map of the world. Also, you have a lot better stuff, history timelines in the Artesia Annual, where they really go over a lot of like more map stuff and just tells you like everything that's gone on, from like the Worm King to the Islix and the Great Empire. It's like, it's a whole thing, okay? There's a lot to learn here. It's very meaty, it's very juicy, something to sink your teeth into.
Well, if it was that cool and detailed, wouldn't it have already been a movie by now or a TV show?
Well, I think that it would make a fantastic movie or TV show. I mean, especially on HBO. I mean, hey guys, if you guys like want to do something to follow up Game of Thrones after that one's over, I should say check out Artesia, whatever. Fair warning, just like Game of Thrones, Artesia has not been finished. The series is still left hanging a little bit, unfortunately, because the creator, Mark Smiley, also ended up starting Archaea Studio Press, and because he's like a boss man over there, he hasn't had time to work on this because writing and drawing your own comic is like super intensive. Plus, the artwork in this is fantastic, okay? There's a lot of time and care put into it. Like, it's all watercolored, which is like mind-blowing. I love watercolors, so like I'm really excited by the fact this is all watercolors. And he just has these like crazy tableaus of like these medieval like armies clashing in a field. It's like, you know, it took that guy like a week to fucking draw that like one splash page, you know? I mean, it's just so, and there's just like so much armor. Oh my gosh, it's like, it's beautiful, it's beautiful. But as I said, because of that, it takes a little bit of time. He's saying that he'll hopefully get back to it. And Mark Smiley has also written a novel called The Barrow, which is kind of like a prequel to the Artesia situation. Like it takes place in that same universe, and one of the main characters is her brother. So she kind of makes a small appearance in the book. So I'm interested in checking that one out. I haven't checked that one out, so. And the reason that I love Artesia is just the fact that she is the strong female character that other strong female characters wish they were, okay? She is so just badass and awesome and epic. She's such an inspiration to me that whenever I have like a big tough day coming up, the night before I'll pin up a picture of her above my bed when I'm sleeping. So hopefully I can get by osmosis a little bit of that Artesia energy going on for myself, because she just kicks so much ass and just takes names. And I love the fact that she goes around and she just like leads an army into victory after victory. She takes kingdoms, she takes lovers, she likes to fight, she likes to fuck. Like, she just does it all. She does it all. And the fact that she's just this warrior witch priestess queen is just something that really appeals. That's the thing, that's like with my name on it. Like somebody made this character with like me in mind apparently, because it's just like, that's awesome.
Who would win in a fight? Artesia or Predator?
Artesia, totally. I got my money on her.
Oh, boo!
Got money on my girl.
Why? Why?
Well, she has an enchanted sword. Okay, she's got war spirits on her side. All right, she's got a lot of stuff going on.
Predator has a frisbee with knives coming out of it that spins in circles.
It bleeds. We can kill it.
You know what Artesia would do, Robot? She would seduce the Predator. She would seduce the Predator and then bind him with her ancient magics and then fucking cut his head off and give it to her goddess as a fucking trophy. That's what she would do. And next up for my movie review, I want to tell you about How to Train Your Dragon 2 in theaters now.
Never seen it. What's it about?
Well, it is the sequel to How to Train Your Dragon, which is a DreamWorks animation movie, and it's all about this kid Hiccup who's a little boy Viking in this Viking village, and he doesn't fit in with any of them, and they're always clashing with these dragons, and then he ends up downing a dragon. He goes to find it, and then they become super besties, and he's got to like tell everybody in his village that like they don't need to kill dragons, that they need to like be friends with them so they can ride them around and be totally awesome. So that's the first one. And the second one takes place 5 years later. Hiccup is now a 20-year-old man, and just like in the first one, he's still kind of clashing with his father, you know, whereas in the first one he's like, oh, you can't be friends with dragons. And then in the second one, he's like, you need to be the chief of the village. And Hiccup's like, I don't want to be the chief. I want to explore.
Oh, this is amazing!
He also meets a mysterious stranger from his past and also has to deal with this crazy blood fist dude who's been enslaving all the dragons and building a dragon army, so they gotta stop that guy because he's totally nuts. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Another reason to go see this film is the animation is top-notch. DreamWorks Studios have really outdone themselves. There's just such beautiful lighting. The environments look really great. The characters all look fantastic. I really love the little tiny details, like Hiccup's father, you know, they do this close-up on his beard, and you see these like little gray pieces, and it's just so multi-layered, and it's just like really beautiful, really nice stuff. And not to mention that there's like so many different types of dragons. There's like a million different types of dragon designs, and you get to see so many more new ones this time around. I mean, you have like big, fat, stupid dragons, and you have dragons with 4 wings, and you have dragons with like spike heads, and you have dragons that are like ginormous who have like ice breath and tusks. I mean, it's just, I love all the different design elements. And I really enjoyed at the very end of the film when they're rolling the credits, they have a lot of the concept art, and they show all these like really beautiful digital paintings that they did. And it's just like, I wish more films like put concept art in the end in their ending credits, because as an artist, I really appreciate that. I really like seeing where they come from and how they develop it. And yeah, it's just a fun movie overall. Like I said, it's not gonna like change your life or anything, but if you're in the mood for a lighthearted animation adventure, then I highly recommend it. Not to mention the fact that Toothless reminds me of my little girl here. They got a lot of personality similarities. They're very feisty, extremely cute.
You know that doesn't wash out.
So that's it for today. I hope you find an awesome fantasy recommendation for those of you going through Game of Thrones withdrawals, or just if you want to get into fantasy in general. And if you like any of these recommendations, feel free to comment below. Let us know how you feel about it.
No, you don't read the comments.
Well, sometimes I do, and then I usually get sad, so then I stop reading them for a while. But then I come back for another helping.
You're addicted.
It's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle.
You have the insanity.
I do. And in the meantime, feel free to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for all your Comic Book Girl Named T news and updates. But if you are interested in getting started with Artesia, there is Artesia Book 1. Now, unfortunately, this one's a little bit more pricey on Amazon. It needs like another printing, and hopefully it'll get one pretty soon. And then Book 2, you have Artesia Afield. Book 3, Artesia of Fire. And then he started Book 4, Artesia Besieged, and I think he only got up to issue 5 and never finished the 6th one, so it's never been collected in a book like this. But you can get these on Comixology.
Orgy.